So, what is going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at the Transformers Kingdom Leader Class Beast Wars Megatron. Yes, I had to specify Beast Wars, even though I guarantee most of you already knew, yes, it's Beast Wars. And this is the Leader Class Megatron, and he is pretty darn cool. I actually have to push him a good bit back, because it's either put him on a box, or, you know, put him at a bit of a distance where you can actually see the entirety of it. As far as this Megatron goes, man, is he cool. He is really cool. And I got this guy the other day, which from my, just open it, I had the extra blur and cup, and a bit ago, I just put them on Facebook Marketplace trying to sell them. Dude hits me up, he's like, hey, do you want to do a trade? I was like, okay, what's the trade for? He's like, I'll trade you Kingdom Leader Megatron for them two. I was like, all right. I didn't care. I didn't own this guy. And plus, this is like an $80 figure. I got that lot for $60, so I've got a $60 lot. And out of that lot, I got a $70 figure in Sunstreaker. Then I got Crosshairs and Warpath on top of that, plus a Leader Class out of the two deluxes I already owned, and an RC that I just kind of left somewhere. I don't even know where that thing went. Now, as far as it goes, this is like the first true leader I'm going to be dealing with, because the other ones are all really just Voyagers. Like, they are just kind of Voyager-sized. There's nothing really to it. They're just Voyager-sized. I mean, as far as it goes, he is just big. He's big, first and foremost. Here he is next to Voyager, Soundwave. There he is, looking nice and fresh. Quite large, as you'd hope. And that figure is a lot bigger than the more modern Voyagers, so you already know this guy is, well, larger than them. As far as most of the leaders go, obviously, from the War for Cybertron line, the leaders have mostly just been Voyagers that have been packed with extra accessories, or have armor, or, you know, all that good stuff. But it's just kind of one of those things where I just really like this thing. We barely even talked about it, really. This just looks like Megatron from Beast Wars. Pinnacly, it's just him. There's nothing undeniable about it. It's him. The head sculpt is perfection. There it is. Perfection. It's that nice cube type head. Back if it's purple for some reason. Wish they had have continued the whole kind of gunmetal / black coloration. The face, though, with the purple, looks awesome. Predacon logo on the head, of course. Now, another thing to mention is he has a lot of this kind of weird rubbery plastic, but it's not like the old rubbery plastic. It's like a really solid rubbery plastic. Actually, what I'm going to attribute it to, kind of, ironically, is this, which is the Terra Freeze Megazord. It's actually really similar to his fists. They're like the same kind of rubbery material. His is translucent, obviously, but they're really, really similar, the material. I'm sure no one's really going to understand why I brought a Megazord in. It's because it's right there. It's in the comparison rack. I should put the side swipe there, too. Honestly, because he's just kind of on the back somewhere. But yeah, as far as he goes. Another thing, though, the negative, loose hips. He has really loose hips. I don't know why. Like, they're just loose. They're just really loose. They were like that in the box. This thing was mint condition, by the way. This thing came in the box, fully wrapped in, everything like that. This was not an open figure. So I just got it out of the box, loose hips, and that's fine. I think I've mentioned it in the past. I've had really good luck with my figures. I've barely had any, like, stinkers when it came to, like, loose joints, everything like that. I've been good with it. I'm owed a couple at this rate. I mean, yeah. As far as it goes, though, another thing to mention, in his right hand, he has a effect port for a blast effect. So it's peg 1. So the one with the Scourge will work, but I don't want to grab it because then I'd knock Rhinox over, and he can't stand either. That's my logic on that, is Rhinox stands in front of Prime's trailer on my shelf, and if I move it, he falls over. Another thing, the guns on the hips, it's just great. The paint everywhere, nice. This kind of purple. I kind of said this is black. It's more of purple-ish kind of color. It's the same color as that. It looks way more purple. But yeah, on camera than it is. It's a very dark purple. But then he has on the hips the little guns. They look a lot better. The kind of pincer on his arm here, or aka his tail arm, it is basically a pincer. He does have a hand in there, though. Because he usually does. I mean, yeah. But one thing that another negative, I guess, people will probably have. The backpack. He has one. There's no getting around it. He has a backpack. As well contained as it is, because it's kind of accurate. Like, these are supposed to be there. Like, they're accurate. The hips, though, of the dino form are not supposed to be there, but hey, there's not much you can do about them. You can try to fix them various ways. I just leave them in default configuration. I don't really care. But that's enough about this, so let's get into the articulation. He has a ball joint in the head and can do pretty much anything you need. He has forward and back at the arm, outward, an elbow joint, a swivel, and this hand can move up for some reason. I don't know why. It's not even for transformation. This arm here has a very restricted elbow, but if you want the accurate, I guess, version of that, I don't know how I feel about it facing forward. I really don't, but hey, it's an elbow joint. He does have a waist swivel. Forward and back, obviously. Outward, knee joint, and a swivel. The right one kept popping out, but it just wasn't pushed in far enough. And, of course, he has an ankle tilt along with a foot forward, back. No rotation, though. So, yeah, very articulate, as you would expect. Nothing really wrong with his articulation. He is a leader class figure, after all. Also, the head kind of has a butterfly joint, the head arm, so the right arm. That is the main bulk of the robot mode, so let's get into the transformation, which is a real highlight of this figure. I love the transformation. So to start the transformation, I usually start with the tail arm, because it is the easier arm to start with. So you're going to take the flap there, so the kind of pincer bit with the little teeth on it, fold it there, and then fold up this. And there's two slots. There's this one and this one. This one's usually easier to get in. This one here has to go under this purple bit. So you kind of got to force it in there. And we'll talk about an issue with the tail transformation in a second here as well. So you're going to want to flip everything up flawlessly. As far as that issue goes, it's that little square flap here. As you can see, it's a bit warped looking, and that's because it's that kind of flexible material. And I don't know why it's that flexible material, because it's kind of a vital part of the transformation. And it just kind of screws it up. Anyway, we're going to leave the arm like that, so now it's in tail formation. And this is where we get to the fun part of the figure. Come to the back here, and you're going to unpeg this section here. And that gives you this whole hip area and everything. Fold out his dino arms. Come to the inside and fold out these panels, which are all that weird rubbery material. And I actually do have a misshapen peg that goes in, and it's on this part specifically. It unpegs really easy. Also, these are spring-loaded for some reason as well. No clue on the spring-loadedness, but hey. Sure, why not? That's the whole backpack unfurled. Next thing I'm going to do is come in and wrench him in half. There we go. Usually takes a bit of effort. I don't know why it takes so much effort, but another part that's going to take effort is splitting the crotch. So there's that. So you're going to take the head there, you're going to rotate the whole torso like that, flip the robot head in, flip the dino head around like so, and that's just going to get left like that for now. Next thing I'm going to do is take the crotch of the figure, and it has a clip system. So there's this tab here. We'll go into those clips. I'm not going to take the elbows on the desk or risk the entire camera falling, because it takes some effort to get this to go most of the time. It's usually just down to lining it up. There we go. Now the figure's upside down at this point in time. And it's starting to look like something, right? Wrong. We gotta come in here to the hips. As far as the hips go, they're really weird to split sometimes. Sometimes they like to split, other times they really don't. There we go. Got them to split. So basically, you're just gonna take them and fold them out. And then, I don't know why, some of this stuff is really hard to move. Other bits of it are loose, other bits are way too tight. Oh, that being one part of it again is way too tight. I don't know why it's so tight, but it is. Take the hip bits, fold them out like that so they're in a normal hip formation. You can take the tail and put that into place now. Come to the robot mode hips and then fold down these bits like so. And that will allow you to start getting everything in place. I just kind of accidentally knocked off that panel. I'm just going to keep it off for the time being for a second here. Take the shell of the figure and kind of fold it down. And that'll form the belly area of the beast. There we go. And then, actually before we peg that on, these panels here, they always like to kind of go into the wrong spot. Like they go under for some reason. Kind of have to pull it. I wish those were soft plastic. Those are hard plastic. Tragically. And then there's that. This is pretty much just a Transmetal reference at this point. With how that looks. Like, it kind of looks like the Transmetal, how it has like the like turbines on the hips. Get the head into place, and now for the hips. It's the last part of the entire thing. We're finally there. They will tab in, so there's 2 slots right here, and then 2 tabs right there. Make sure the tail's in place, and then make sure that these peg in, because if they don't peg in, the whole thing's just going to be loose the entire time. So making sure those are in there. And then fold down those, position them correctly. And there is Beast Wars Megatron in his alt form, which looks perfect. It is perfection looking. And of course it's going to be perfect looking. It's a leader. He's the only leader Beast Wars figure out of the entire lot. And of course, turning him over, there's no robot kibble. The impossible's been done. There's like no kibble. Like the other ones have such obvious kibble, it's kind of like, oh, no. But this has nothing. It's flawless looking. The only bit that's kind of breaks it is here. That's really it. I think those unpegged. I don't know why. They like to do it. I'm unsure. I don't think they did actually. But either way, man, like he just looks great in this dino form. And the texturing on it, it's really similar to Dinobot, where it kind of feels it. And with that rubbery plastic, it kind of feels like a bit more scaly in a lot of places. Like I would expect a dinosaur or a lizard type creature to feel. I guess I haven't handled a lizard in a long time, but I mean, it just looks phenomenal in this form. And it actually has articulation as well. Like, the head can rotate around, and the neck can move on that little butterfly joint I mentioned earlier. And, of course, the mouth opens, where there's the sculpted tongue and everything in there. Teeth look great. The eyes are just pure red, though. No pupils. Ball-jointed little arms, along with his main legs, are able to move. So there is that. Of course, the knee joint still exists. And the feet articulation still exists. And the tail can move side to side in 2 different spots. So on the elbow, not the elbow, on the shoulder joint, and then obviously this joint here at the tail. And there's one slight issue, and it's around the neck, and you're probably already seeing it, which is these 3 panels, they just don't work together all too well. Like, I feel like it needs to be in farther, but then it looks ridiculous. But then if I do this, which looks correct for that part, those bits are, like, sticking out. It just doesn't look correct, so you just kind of have to come in and, like, finagle with it to get it to look correct, but it just doesn't look correct. It's really weird. But I mean, yeah, this alt mode, great. And that transformation, like I said, it's kind of unique. It's kind of fun. And I like how, like, the chest rotates and everything. It's kind of awesome. But yeah, the alt mode is 100% worth getting to. So yeah, let's just get into my thoughts on this figure. This figure is great, and I got him for major discount pretty much. And I mean, I don't think I would have regretted buying it either way, honestly. I think this figure is like a really amazing figure. There's multiple versions out there. I could have had Tyrannicon, the T-Rex version. Yes, T-Rex, as in wrecking. I could have had him for like 26 bucks, and I passed on it, and I was like, I don't think I want it, and I didn't do it, and I kind of wanted it the next day, and then it was over, and I was like, well, damn. But no, I got the better version here, which is Megatron, to me anyway, because Megatron's a character. And I mean, yeah, this thing does just about everything a leader should do. It's big, it's chunky. As I'd expect, it has lots of cool engineering tricks, because it needs to have cool engineering tricks. If it didn't have cool engineering tricks, I'd be kind of mad. Although I will say the tolerances are a bit shot on this thing in a few places. Like I said, the hips being loose is a bit annoying. It's not the most loose I've ever had hips be on a figure, but it's still an annoyance nonetheless to have loose hips, because, you know, this guy's actually kind of heavy at the top, so it's kind of a bit of a oh no situation. And I mean, this figure does just look great, though. All things considered. Should never check that connection. Yeah, it's just a peg it in connection. And I mean, yeah, I'd have nothing really more to say except this figure is great. And it does have its minor things, but as far as it goes, I'm not going to let the loose hips take away from this figure. I think this figure is a 5 out of 5 figure. Genuinely, I love it. It's 2 5 and a 5s in a row, I know, but it's just, it's true. You know, but here's that kind of rubbery material messing it up that won't flip in correctly sometimes because of it. And it did that on the first transformation as well. It just kind of got warped. There's no way to, well, I guess you could apply heat, but other than that. Anyway, this has been my review of Beast Wars Leader Megatron from Kingdom. This has been Eilt Elite signing out. And yes, I'm aware, I didn't make a single yes joke at any point. Oh, I guess I just did. Anyway.